Guys, you're currently watching a clip from our weekly podcast, Never Onside. The full podcast is available in audio format on Spotify and in video format on YouTube. So go subscribe to us and press on the notifications. It helps us a lot. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Never Onside. On this week, we'll be taking you through everything football that happened around the world, Europe and around. So basically, this was a woeful week for Klopp and Liverpool. That's why we have our main slide with this heading. I'm sure Mayur will take us through what happened for Liverpool, what's going on with Liverpool, and how tactically they're struggling a bit. Yeah, let's get into the Premier League matches and how everything panned out in the last week. Yes, from the top, you can see that Leicester Man City match was a very tight affair, which ended with a De Bruyne free kick, a top bin free kick, which hit the post and went in. And Ward was helpless at that moment. Did you watch this match, Mayor?
Yes, yes. So this was a very good match to watch. Like I know the score doesn't suggest that, but we have seen since game week 8, Leicester have been like back in form. Initially they considered the most goals, and they were just on the verge of it felt like Brendan Rodgers might get the sack, and they were
Right.
looking like a hopeless team. But they have
Mm.
turned the tables, and they have kept a clean sheet in the last 6 games, like 5 times out of the 6 games.
Oh,
So and
really?
yeah,
Mm.
4 times out of 6 games. So this was the sixth game, if we talk about. So that was since game week 8, and we have seen in FPL as well, Ward getting those big mega haul
Right.
clean sheets and
Right.
everything. But to sum up this game, City obviously played without their key man, Haaland, and Leicester went there in the game and they were ready to sit deep. So they had all 11 players behind the ball, just ready to pounce on the counter attacks and everything. So City started the game a bit shaky. They considered a few transitional attacks on them, but to sum it up again, the key part of this game was obviously they made chances, but they created zero big chances in this game. City. So that was a key part. Like you thinking about City having such a good team, the depth we talk about, and then when you realize against a Leicester side, they didn't create a big chance. There was one single chance created, but it was wrongfully given offside to Alvarez, who made a run. But after seeing the replays, it was onside. But apart from that, they didn't create any big chances. So that is something you think about, whether Haaland has such an impact that he can make a normal attempt, a big chance, or some kind of a thing, or was this a one-off game where they couldn't unlock the Leicester defense, who basically sat deep? And in the
Right.
second half, 45 to 70 minutes was the key game for City. The way they controlled the game, we see why they are known, and we think they are the favorites to be champions. In that part, they control the game so very well, didn't give Leicester any chance, any sniff of the ball, just control the game, and they even score in that time. But apart from a normal thing, in the last 15 minutes they were very poor, which we have seen in the past 2 3 games. They've been struggling just like Arsenal, who don't finish off games very strongly and give silly chances. A kind of a similar thing for City. But yeah, overall a good watch if you love, like if you want to watch a classic City game where they set up very well, control the game and don't give chances. So a good watch. So going on
Right.
to the next game, host, any games which you watched?
Yeah, so I think this Bournemouth Spurs was a classic Premier League comeback with Bentancur scoring the um, winning goal, I think in stoppage time. So Bournemouth went 2 goals up, and then Spurs came back into the game. So it was a really great match to watch. If you haven't watched the match, you should catch the highlights and see what happened there. All right. So before this match, I saw analysis that Spurs have been found out. Spurs and Conte have been found out for the fact that how they play is very, very template to what Conte does, and people have started to figure out. That's why in the last 2 3 games they were struggling to beat their opposition. So it was at this moment when the match started. It was looking like another Spurs defeat, but they pulled things back thanks to some unlikely goal scorers in the form of Davis and Bentancur. So very odd match to watch, and Sessegnon also scored. So very odd match, and then we have the Brighton versus Chelsea match, another big upset which happened. Uh, Potter's team eventually got back to haunt his new side, and you could see how well set Brighton was. And this will be a pattern going forward. You will see Brighton, winning against such big sides, but struggling to score points against someone like Nottingham Forest, maybe. So that was the picture in that match. And then another interesting match was the Newcastle Aston Villa match. Aston Villa were very impressive in the last match. I think they won 5-1 or something in the last match. And they came into this with confidence, but what happened was Newcastle are a top 4, top 5 side, and they completely ran over Aston Villa. Aston Villa had no answer to the kind of balls that Trippier was giving in, the movement by Joelinton, Wilson, and Almiron. And there was a beautiful goal by Almiron, who has hit some high form weeks in the past weeks, and you can see that people in FPL are also targeting him. So Newcastle is a very good side to target, like going forward even after the World Cup. And the Liverpool Leeds match.
Yes. So again, unexpected result. Everyone thought this would be an easy win, but there was a certain factor. We spoke it on the pod. We definitely thought this was an open game, apart from being a Liverpool
Right.
dominant show. But again, if you have watched, if you follow Tifo or anything, they have always mentioned that it's out there, the blueprint to how to defeat Liverpool. Basically, you attack that right
Right.
hand side, which is not covered very well, in the absence of Trent going forward. Then Gomez being handed the duty of covering the right wing back and right centre back position once he goes forward. So that is their trademark, and a blueprint how teams can defeat Liverpool. And exactly the same thing happened. Leeds exploited the hell out of that right side space and used it very well. So now, apart from Leeds using it very well, what is going wrong at Liverpool currently? So we know in the past few seasons they have led some big signings, and the signing ins which have come have not been compared to maybe a Chelsea, a City, or an Arsenal, as impactful as we think like a top two club or a top four club would make. So now this is being found out. The quality in difference, the way they cover teams, they if there are injuries, it looks like Liverpool is currently a tier two team compared to maybe a Arsenal, City, or even a United for that matter or
Yeah.
something. So they look like a tier two team, but
The
again,
squad looks like a tier 2 score. You're
yes.
right.
And then
Right.
Klopp is also trying to switch systems with trying to include Darwin in the game. So Liverpool haven't played with the actual number 9 in quite a few seasons. So again, trying to get him in the system, trying to get the best out of Salah, who often sticks wide rather than being in the center, which is his great position. So this is a transition year to sum it up. So you expect such cycles to be broken, and the fact that this cycle was broken and wasn't very well supported by the owners or the people who invest in by getting a good amount of signings. So that two hand in hand things, and
Right.
plus the way Liverpool are known to counter press, but they look like they have been a bit tired throughout after those counter pressing. Initially, we everyone knew the same method how to defeat Liverpool, but they were able to get that they counter pressed and got the ball and made it into a transition. But this time around, we easily see Henderson is
Right.
not the right, like the correct Henderson used to cover those spaces and everything. So there is a outlet, and this for Liverpool fans at the start of the season came as a surprise even for us. But again, you have to consider that there are
Right.
cycles in every team, and this is a cycle, and this was an end of cycle, and a new cycle is about to begin. and hopefully Klopp is the right person.
Right.
Obviously, he won't
So
get the sack. So, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so couple of important points here. I remember Mayur racing it in the first three games that Liverpool played. I think that Liverpool are definitely in a transition period, and I thought they would just turn the corner and start performing well. But what you said was definitely right, and also in terms of the signings they had, I remember Gary Neville in his podcast saying that. Liverpool were punching above their weights in the past 2 3 years, where with the intensity, with the manager, with the players like Mane, Salah, and Firmino stepping up, they were able to go toe to toe with the likes of City. But you can't sustain it for a long time unless you keep reinvesting in the players that you have. You have seen the likes of City keeping investing every time, even if they keep winning. But if you look at the net spent by Liverpool, it's very low in the last 5 years. So that is another reason. And the third reason is, of course, the fact that Liverpool were always weak on the right side. It's just that teams did not get the time to exploit it because of the fact that the front three were pressing and also the midfield three were also pressing. So right now that intensity in pressing is not there. That's why teams are getting the chance to reach their right flank so easily and exploit those weaknesses. We all knew Alexander Arnold was not a great defender, but it has been found out this year that he's that bad right now when taken in isolation. So yeah, that is that. And then let's move on to the United versus West Ham match. Very cagey affair in which United came out winners with a goal from Rashford and an assist by Ericsson. So United have impressed me lately after this very shaky start. And what Eric Ten Hag has done is to accept what the strengths and weaknesses of the side are, and also to enforce his philosophy wherever it is possible. So if you see, United would always play on the counter against sides like let's say an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a top four side, except for the likes of Spurs who would sit back and play. So we used to struggle against teams like West Ham, Nottingham Forest, such teams, but we would play well against the top four sides. So now what Eric Ten Hag has done is to utilize a transitional attack against big sides, but also be comfortable in possession when required. And also, if you see that right now Casemiro is playing a huge part, because of which we are able to play the likes of Ericsson and Fernandez in that number 8 spot. It reminds me of that De Bruyne and Silva playing in the City side with Fernandinho sitting behind in the 2018 periods. So this is definitely a work in process, but the blueprint is very evident when teams sit back. We are looking to play like how a City would play in under Pep Guardiola. So that blueprint is definitely there, and uh, now the only thing is to balance the transitional attacking, counter-attacking play, and also the positional play, which we'll eventually get there. That's what I feel. And grinding out these 1-0 results with keeping a clean sheet intact is very good for United, and I hope we continue this form going forward.
Yes. So just to add, Lisandro
Yeah, let's
Martinez,
move on. Yeah,
everyone criticized
yeah,
him after the first
yeah,
3 4 games about his height and everything, but
definitely.
recently we have seen what a guy he is. So I watch quite a lot of Argentine games, like in so just to watch. So I've seen him play for Argentina as well, and he definitely showed his quality there. But again, not many PL fans are very uh, uh, like not very up to date about new players who come into the league,
Aware
and
of.
everyone
Yeah,
criticized. But definitely in the last few, more than few games, we have seen how important he is, and the way he just defends and comes out and plays. I just love watching that. So yeah, a good game for him as well. And to just end this Premier League
Yes.
review, Arsenal beating Nottingham Forest after their few defeats and a draw in the league and in Europa League as well. So this was a very statement victory, going fixing the top position again. They played Nottingham Forest out of the park, scoring for fun, and we saw Nelson, who came on for Saka. He also got involved and scored those two goals. So we see the personnel being different, but the job they are doing is almost the same, despite being not regularly in the team. So a good thing to watch for Arsenal, and a good season heading into them. Then heading into, so a good week to end for Arsenal. And now